The pain of disconnection. You wake in the dead of night with a heaviness in your chest. The room is silent, but inside your mind is a storm of doubt and loneliness. In that darkness, you're convinced something is fundamentally wrong with you. You feel broken, as if an essential piece of you is missing or damaged beyond repair. This pain of disconnection, from others, from meaning, from yourself, becomes almost unbearable. All day, you might wear a mask of being okay, perhaps even a smile, but behind that mask lies an aching emptiness. You keep busy to distract yourself, yet in the quiet moments the suffering creeps back in. It whispers that you're alone in your pain, that no one could truly understand. It tells you that you are broken. And yet something in you refuses to give up. A small voice inside holds a spark of hope that maybe, just maybe, there's a way out of this darkness. The irony is that the very pain you're feeling, this profound suffering and emptiness, might actually be pointing you toward the answer. Pain is not just an enemy. It can be a messenger. It signals that something deep within you needs attention, that a part of you is calling out to be seen and healed. Right now it's hard to believe, but what if your brokenness is not the truth of who you are? What if the pain is not here to punish you, but to guide you? What if beneath the suffering, you could discover that you were never broken at all? It's time to take a courageous step inward, to explore the hidden parts of your own psyche. On that journey, you may find the piece you thought was missing has been with you all along, waiting quietly in the shadows. Confronting the shadow. Deep inside, you carry every experience and emotion you've ever denied or pushed away. All the anger you never expressed, the shame or sadness you buried, the fears and desires you deemed unacceptable, they haven't vanished. They live within you, in what Carl Jung called the shadow, the hidden side of your personality. Everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is, Jung wrote. In other words, the more we reject or bury parts of ourselves, the stronger and darker those parts become in the unconscious. As children, we all learn that certain parts of us are not welcome. Maybe you were told, good children don't get angry, so you swallowed your anger. Or you felt that showing vulnerability was unsafe, so you put on a brave face and hid your hurt. Over the years, all these disowned pieces of you, the anger, the fear, and any other parts you felt were too much or unacceptable, were banished into the shadows of your psyche. You crafted an ideal persona to show the world, and you locked away everything that didn't fit that perfect image. But those exiled parts of you did not disappear. The shadow lives on, silently influencing you in ways you don't realize. It tends to show itself in moments when you overreact, when stress cracks your facade. For example, you might pride yourself on being kind, yet suddenly lash out in cruelty when you feel hurt. These moments are signs that your hidden self is trying to surface. The shadow holds the very qualities we insist we shouldn't have, and we spend tremendous energy denying them. We often run from our shadow because we're afraid of what we might find if we look directly at it. Confronting the shadow is not easy. It means admitting you have impulses and flaws that scare you. It can be frightening because facing your shadow threatens the perfect self-image you've tried so hard to maintain. But here's the paradox. The very act of avoiding your darkness is what keeps you in pain. The more you refuse to acknowledge those hidden parts of yourself, the more power they have to harm you. Your suffering, as overwhelming as it feels, isn't coming from some incurable flaw. It comes from the unseen, unlived life within you. All those parts of you that you've kept in the dark are crying out in pain because they long to be brought into the light of awareness. When the unconscious rules your life. What happens when you ignore your shadow? When you lock away pain, resentment, or fear instead of facing it, those feelings don't die. They sink into your unconscious mind and quietly shape your life. You may notice repeating patterns, the same kind of heartbreak over and over, self-sabotage whenever you get close to success, or a persistent anxiety you can't explain. The unconscious has a clever way of externalizing what we refuse to face internally. As Jung famously said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. In other words, the parts of yourself you ignore end up pulling the strings from the shadows. Have you ever wondered, why does this always happen to me? Often it isn't just bad luck. It's your unhealed inner world recreating familiar scenarios, hoping you'll finally pay attention. If you grew up feeling unworthy, you might unconsciously choose partners or situations that confirm that feeling again and again until you recognize and heal the root belief. If you learn to bury your anger, it might leak out as stress-related illness or passive-aggressive behavior. Life will keep presenting you with the same lesson until you learn it. In truth, those painful patterns in your life are messages. They're urging you to see what's hidden within yourself. The unconscious isn't out to punish you. It's working to wake you up, almost like a teacher staging outer events to force you to look inward. For example, if you secretly believe you're unworthy of love, you might repeatedly end up with partners who mistreat you, replaying that belief until you finally confront and change it. It can feel as though unseen forces are pulling your strings until you bring what's hidden into the light. The belief that you are broken often comes from seeing these painful patterns and not understanding their source. You blame yourself thinking, there must be something wrong with me. Why do I keep doing this? But consider this. What if these patterns persist not because you're broken, but because something inside you needs to be seen and healed? What if the brokenness you feel is actually a signal that a part of you is still waiting for acknowledgement? Far from being your enemy, the unconscious is a wise instructor that will continue to nudge you, sometimes painfully, until you bring its lessons into awareness. Once you do, you gain the power to change your life. By making the unconscious conscious, you reclaim your ability to shape your own fate. The journey of integration. Facing your shadow and healing these unconscious patterns is a journey, one of the most important journeys you can undertake. Often called shadow work or the process of individuation, it's not a quick fix, but a lifelong practice of growing into wholeness. As daunting as it sounds, this path is deeply rewarding because it leads you to reclaim the parts of yourself you lost and to finally feel the sense of completeness you've been missing. How do you begin this journey of integration? Start with awareness. Begin to observe your emotions and reactions without judgment. Notice what triggers strong anger, fear, or envy. Those reactions are clues to your shadow. For instance, if someone's arrogance infuriates you, consider that you might carry that trait or a related insecurity in yourself. When a powerful emotion hits, pause and ask yourself, what is this really about for me? In that moment of pause, you create space for insight. You might discover that beneath your anger is a feeling of being disrespected, or beneath jealousy is a longing to express something in yourself. Bit by bit, you start shining light into the dark corners of your psyche. The next crucial step is acceptance. Once you've identified a hidden aspect of yourself, say a tendency toward cruelty or a deep well of grief, resist the urge to reject or judge it. Approach it with compassion and curiosity. This can be challenging, but remember Jung's advice. We cannot change anything unless we accept it. Acknowledge that this trait or feeling exists in you, and recognize that it probably formed for a reason. Perhaps arrogance was a shield for your wounded self-esteem, or anger was a response to years of feeling powerless. Every part of your shadow once served a purpose in helping you cope. Thank it for its service, and let it know it doesn't have to hide anymore. By accepting these parts of yourself rather than fighting them, you take away their power to hurt you and begin to transform them. Integration doesn't mean indulging every impulse. It means finding healthy outlets under the guidance of your conscious mind. You might talk through your fears with someone you trust, and practice meditation to learn to sit with your emotions. The key is to be honest with yourself and brave enough to face what you find. Think of this inner work as alchemy, turning the lead of your pain into the gold of wisdom and strength. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious, Jung advised. By confronting your darkness, you uncover the treasures hidden there. Often, the qualities you fear have a positive side waiting to emerge. Face your fear, and you gain courage. Own your anger, and you can harness its energy for something good. The parts of you that once seemed like weaknesses can become sources of power when brought into the open. Be patient with yourself, because this path is not linear. You might feel you've made great progress, then something triggers you and you stumble. That's okay. Each time you face a setback, you're not starting over. You're learning and healing at a deeper level. Over time, you'll notice that the old triggers have less grip on you. The wounds that once controlled you from the shadows begin to lose their power because you've brought them into the light. Little by little, you respond to life's challenges with more balance and clarity. The suffering that once felt all-consuming starts to fade. Life will still have ups and downs, but you won't be adding the same self-inflicted pain by running from yourself. You are no longer your own enemy. You're becoming whole. Individuation, becoming whole. As you integrate your shadow and make the unconscious conscious, you begin to experience what Carl Jung called individuation, becoming the authentic individual you are meant to be. It's like finally coming home to yourself. The qualities you once rejected are no longer enemies. They're part of a complete, balanced psyche. You see that both the light and dark within you have value and purpose. In Jung's poetic words, "How can I be substantial if I do not cast a shadow? I must have a dark side also if I am to be whole." You realize that wholeness isn't about being perfect or always good. Wholeness means embracing your humanity fully, your strengths and your weaknesses, your virtues and your flaws, and knowing that all of it belongs. When you stop seeing yourself as broken, your relationship with suffering changes. Painful experiences will still happen. No life is free of pain. But the extra layer of suffering, the belief that you are a victim of your own life or that pain means you are defective, begins to dissolve. Instead of thinking, "This pain is happening because I'm broken," you understand, "This pain is a part of life and it's teaching me something." You can hold pain more lightly, as one part of a larger, richer experience of being alive. Picture yourself as a sailor in rough seas. Before, you felt like you were the storm, tossed by waves with no control. Now you are the captain of your ship. The waves of emotion still come, but you know how to steer. The storm no longer paralyzes you because you trust the strength of your vessel. Individuation isn't a one-time event but a continuous unfolding. With each shadow piece you integrate, you reclaim more energy, creativity, and peace. Your relationships may change as you change. You become more authentic, no longer bound by shame. You might revive old dreams now that fear no longer holds you back. In essence, you are free to be you. Through shadow work, you earn that privilege. You find that your true self was never lost, only concealed. Here is a deeper truth shining through. You were never broken. The sense of brokenness was a story you believed when you felt disconnected from parts of yourself. Once you bring those parts into the light and reclaim them, you see that your core self was always intact. It was your perception of yourself that was fragmented, not your soul. By bravely confronting your unconscious and embracing the parts of you that were hiding, you have changed that perception. Now you can look at yourself and see clearly, not a shattered being in need of fixing, but a whole person, light and dark together, strong and flawed and beautiful. A call to conscious living. Now you have this knowledge and an open door lies before you. The invitation is clear. Live consciously. Choose to face yourself, all of yourself, with courage and compassion each day. If you slip back into old shadows, gently bring yourself into the light again. When you feel pain, ask what it's teaching you instead of running from it. Embrace your emotions. When you feel pain or anger, pause and acknowledge it instead of pushing it away. Take a deep breath and say to yourself, "I see you. What do you need to tell me?" By listening to your emotions, you honor the parts of you that are speaking. Reflect on your reactions. After a conflict or setback, journal your feelings. Ask yourself, what part of me felt hurt? Writing down your thoughts can reveal the hidden story behind your reaction. Practice self-compassion and seek support. Treat yourself with the kindness you'd offer a good friend. If you slip into old habits, forgive yourself and gently refocus on awareness. And if it feels overwhelming, don't hesitate to reach out for help. A therapist or a trusted friend can support you and remind you that you're not alone on this path. Living consciously doesn't turn life into a blissful breeze. You will still face challenges, losses, and moments of doubt. That's part of life. But you will face them with eyes wide open. Instead of reacting blindly, you respond thoughtfully. You become an active participant in your fate, not a victim of it. When difficulties arise, you no longer lament, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, you think, "What is this revealing in me?" That change in perspective turns even pain into an opportunity for growth. Look back at what you have just explored. You began with pain and a sense of brokenness. You learned about the shadow, the hidden parts of you, and how denying them can cause suffering. You saw that unconscious patterns will keep repeating until they are made conscious, and that facing those shadows is the key to healing. Through this journey, by integrating these parts, you move toward wholeness. You were never broken, you were just hiding. Now you've seen what lies in your shadows, and you hold the light in your hand. The next step is yours. Step forward and shine. If you've made it this far, know this. The journey you just began doesn't end with this video. You've opened a door inside you, a door many fear to even approach. But now, you're no longer just a passive witness to your suffering. You are becoming its interpreter and its liberator. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And that's what Neuromystique exists for, to guide you through the hidden corridors of your mind, to help you uncover the wisdom buried in your wounds, and to remind you that you were never broken, just forgotten. So take a moment, breathe, let the silence settle, and ask yourself, what have I been hiding from myself all these years? Write your reflection in the comments. Let it be a commitment to your own healing. And if this video stirred something within you, don't let that feeling pass unnoticed. Subscribe to Neuromystique and walk with us, through shadow, through soul, into the truth of who you are. Because this isn't just psychology, this is self-reclamation. We'll meet again soon.